Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a boxing gym. If you enjoy this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button as it helps me and the channel out very much. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and click that little bell next to it. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. But without any further ado, let's get started. Here is the amount of space required to make your build a 25 by 27 block area, as represented by the white concrete grid on the ground, which you are always welcome to make if you feel as though it will help you plan out your world. Here are all of the materials that you will need throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. Step 1, if you have made the grid, come all the way over to the front left hand corner of it and count inwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to begin by placing 4 white concrete extending up from the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend right by 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then extend backwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then to the right by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then extend backwards by 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then across by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then extend backwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then extend across and join all the way back to the very front of the build. Now, why have we started off with a giant floating row in the air? Because we usually start on the ground, so I wanted a little bit of a change. But regardless, this is what we want to have. Basically, a rather large sort of T shape that is on its side. And what we're going to do now is we are going to start filling in the gaps. So, if we come all the way to the very beginning, we can add a row of black stained glass pane on the inside of this row. We then want to leave a gap of 1, and then we want to place a row of white concrete to the right. And this row of white concrete can actually extend all the way over to the right, and then it can proceed to join upwards and connect to the upper wall. We can do the same thing extending 3 rows back to create this side wall. Then, the area here, we want to start from the bottom and place 2 white concrete, 3 glass, 1, 2, 3, a single white concrete, 3 glass, 1, 2, 3, and then the last 2 remaining rows will be white concrete, which we can then extend up like this. And then we can do the same thing with the glass. We can extend all of the glass upwards as well. These 2 windows here will appear into the, I suppose you might call this a conditioning part of the boxing gym. Then here on the right side, we want to take the bottom row here and we want to place a row of 3. 1, 2, 3. White concrete, glass pane. 4 white concrete, 1, 2, 3, 4. Glass pane. And then we are going to simply extend rows of white concrete backwards, and then we just want to join up just like this. So all the white concretes extended across and up, and we want to extend the glass upwards as well. Then on the back and the sides, we don't have too many windows. We might add some windows, perhaps on the side. Probably not here because I want to place stuff against this wall, so that's probably a no-go. But there are actually opportunities to add windows to the back and to the left side, which I think that I'm going to take advantage of a little bit later on. This back wall's a little bit tricky, but we can definitely make something happen, and I believe that we can here on this side as well. So, in doing this, we have created a good amount of the structure now. So it's time to half this gym. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to literally join the front and the back of the gym together, where you can see that it quite simply or quite logically divides in two. And then on this right side here, I simply want to place a row of light grey concrete that kind of borders around the edge of the white concrete area here. Just like this. And then I'm considering dividing this area. Like, what I'm thinking about doing is splitting this area in half a little bit. Like, in between these windows here, there is a middle row of two. So it's not literally like you need 2 rows to make the middle, and it kind of just divides this up a little bit, which I just kind of like the look of. And then if we just fill the top of this in with glass, this isn't important for the outside of the gym, because you know you're not really going to see this too much unless you hit an elevated position, but from the inside it's quite nice to have some variation with the windows. And then on this opposite side here, we have to grab the black concrete, and we want to take the 4 corners, and we want to place a row of 1, 2, 3 black concrete on top of each one of the 4 corners. On the back and front of the gym, I want you to extend the black concrete outwards so that it overhangs the frame, but don't extend it inwards. So 1, 2, 3 here, and then extend it out just like this. And then 1, 2, 3 here, and then extend it out just like this. Then on top of the gym here, and also I think what we are going to do is we are going to actually, first of all, on top of the actual gym, on top of the white concrete here, we want to begin with a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white concrete, and then 3 black concrete, so that will be 1, 2, 3, and then 3 white concrete, and then we're going to extend the black concrete upwards like this, and then out just like this. Perfect. Let's extend the white concretes upwards, like so. And then it's up to you whether you want to use block or pane. Pane looks a little bit better, but I'm in the mood for some block at the moment. And then I don't know how. Oh, I actually do know. Never mind. So underneath the black concrete, I'm going to place a row of smooth quartz slabs, and we're going to extend it outwards by 1, 2 rows like this. And not the end row, but this one here. Actually, is that correct? So this would be leaving a gap of, I think just a gap of 1. So here, I think that we want to join the black wall down to the ground. So it doesn't quite connect. I actually don't know if this is even correct. I think that we might have to extend these slabs out an additional row. We'll know a little bit later on, but the important part is the fact that it's at least a couple of rows in front. We might have to extend. I do believe that the wall extends out an additional row here. The plans that I took aren't that clear, so we'll place this here as well. And then I think ultimately, then this will come out an additional row like this, and that's just fine. This wall actually doesn't even connect down to the ground, and also the wall actually joins up and it connects in between the slabs as well. That'll look normal a little bit later on. So now that we've done this, we kind of want to take we want to take another look at the roof area. And what we're going to do is we're going to join on the sides here, the white concrete. We're going to join the 2 rows front to back like this. And how does it look on the back? Oh, we actually had a frame. So we want to extend the 2 side rows of white concrete backwards, right? So just in between the black concrete. So the white concrete on the sides is almost like sunken 1 row inwards, right? But on the back, it lines up with the pre-existing white concrete, if that makes sense. So like, here we go, this is a perfect example. So on the sides, you can see that the white concrete just sits 1 row inwards, but on the back, it just lines up. And it can do that because we can join the black concrete together in the middle, just like this. And then we can kind of just half this row here. So is that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got a double row of black concrete, which we will divide and extend upwards. We will extend the glass backwards as well on top of the white concrete frame. I think that we'll extend the black concretes as well, so the glass here and here, just like this. Perfect. And then on top of all of this will also be some smooth quartz slabs. So with the larger roof, I'm not actually too bothered about variation. See, with the smaller roof, the one on the side here, like I wanted it to be a little bit different. I just didn't want the whole thing to be open top. But with the larger part of the roof, and I think that we're going to add should we add an additional row of quartz? I think that we'll also turn the black inside white, so like here. And then we might even just turn this into glass, actually. We might just glass the whole thing. So here, for instance, and here. It's such a minor detail, but I think it will look a little bit nicer from the inside. And then we can just join the top together using glass, because there's not as much maneuverability around the larger part of the gym, which sounds weird because it's the larger part, but there's a giant ring here, there's some punching bags, there is like a little weight set, and there is also like a little exercise bike. So it's not... like, you can't really walk around it too much, and it's a little bit cramped, so I like the idea that the ceiling is a little bit more open. Whereas on this side here, like, there's a lot more open space, so, you know, it's a little bit of a balance sort of thing. It's a very minor detail, it barely even matters. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some smooth quartz slabs around the top of the light grey concrete area that we have as a roof on this side. So the slabs are just going to sit one row above. We can even join the light grey concrete here backwards, and the end result should look like this, and it looks pretty good. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to grab some new materials, I think, because we're getting to the point where we want to kind of decorate the outside a bit more. So let's just put these in the inventory, and we'll grab smooth stone, terracotta, podzol, azure bluets, my favourite flower, I think, I don't know, some oak leaves. We also need the grey concrete, white concrete, yellow carpet, and we'll also need some blue carpet. We might even need some more stuff as well. We definitely do. So, the terracotta is for a wall that is on the left side of the build. So the wall, and we could even we'll extend the wall until it's 2 rows away from the boundary. We want to have 2 entire rows of smooth stone in front of the build. This is very consistent with all of my builds, because I imagine that this is just on a street somewhere. So I like the idea that there's enough room to kind of like connect this together into a street. So I like to leave a little bit of extra room. So this path also wants to extend and connect to where we have like the corner portion here of the boxing gym. So it wants to extend back, and it kind of wants to hit the area between this wall. We want to have just a singular row of smooth stone that kind of like extends across like here. We want to have oak leaves on the right side of the build here, just leading out from the building to the pathway. This area to the... I've already made a slight mistake. Maybe we could even use podzol for this. I'm going to throw some podzol down in front of the leaves, and then azure bluets in front. And then I'm going to destroy this entire little area here. Replace it with grey concrete, and also a little bit of white concrete, and also a little bit of yellow carpet. So it's basically just going to be 2 car parking spaces. I'm filling the entire thing in when I shouldn't, because there's a middle line of white concrete that runs straight up the middle, but it's okay, it doesn't really matter. Yellow carpet on the end just makes it look a little bit nicer, and boom, there you go. To the left here, I want to have oak leaves in front. Oh, so maybe we should do this. There is a path that leads us directly into our boxing gym, or shall I say, path. There is a path that leads directly into the boxing gym. And I'm going to stick a row of flowers in front of the building. I'm going to destroy a row in front of these leaves, replace it with podzol, and just leave it as is. And I'm going to destroy in front of the flowers that I've created the 2 rows where it is possible to destroy without destroying any of our previous work. I'm going to place some smooth stone, and it kind of just makes the outside all nice. So the next thing is going to be to place blue carpet on top of the overhang at the front of the build where we have the smooth stone, or smooth quartz I should say. Although is quartz still a stone? I think it's still categorized. I wish I could stop destroying the building. I think it's still categorized as a stone. Who even knows? Who knows things about stuff? So we'll destroy all of the blue carpet here that we have kind of like went over, and you can see that it kind of smooth. Obviously you can still see the black stone wall, but it's from the top it doesn't look too bad, and I don't mind it from the side either. You could even bring it in an additional row and then you wouldn't even see this little chunk cut out, but you'd have to be particularly finicky about that sort of thing. So I think that finicky's a word, right? It sounds like a word. It sounds like a word that nobody's used in the past 200 years, but that's such an old-fashioned sounding word, but I'm pretty sure it just means like particular. So we have just simply got to place all of the blue carpet around the edge, and it just looks pretty good like that. Like, it just adds, like, it's such a small detail, but if you achieve any sort of elevation, or even from down below, you can just see that blue tint. I like it. So the next thing that we're going to do is very, very simple, but it makes a nice big impact. We're going to grab paintings, looms, banners, black dye and white dye, and a solid block, just because it's easier. So on the right side of the building here, I'm going to cut off this little section, and I'm looking for the man in white painting, as he is known. Perfect. Then I'm going to leave a gap of 1, and then a gap of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to place some more blue concrete, and then leave a gap of 2 and more blue concrete. So the idea here is I want the Kung Fu painting. If I place it, how do I have to place it that I can that I can get it without destroying my flowers? No, 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 no. I think I've got to destroy. I think I've got to basically just. Unfortunately, there we go. That's the painting I want. And then to the left, I'm looking specifically for. This turned out to be an angel, but to me, it looks like a guy doing karate. So. I mean, I don't see it. I literally just see a guy in a gi with, like, doing a flying karate job. So, I suppose that everything in Minecraft is a little bit about suggestion anyway. And those 3 paintings, I think, help to sort of paint the picture of what's going on here. So, I'm going to throw down the loom before I just chuck it into my inventory. I'm going to get rid of the concrete and the other stuff, and I'm gonna crack open this loom here, and we are going to write literally boxing gym. So this requires white banners, a lot of black dye, and a little bit of white dye. So this is going to go pretty quickly. The first letter is B. We want to have horizontal rows of black dye directly through each one of the horizontal planes of B, with a vertical row on the left and right, which will give us our B. Next is going to be O, so we can stick with the 2 horizontal rows, one on the left, one on the right, and then a horizontal at the bottom and at the top, and there we have O. Next is going to be X, which is a letter that I don't get to make very often, so I actually quite like making this one. And it's basically just both of the diagonal rows Or alternatively, I don't know how I didn't think of this, there is a literal X right here at the top of the banner pattern, so I guess you could use that as well. I don't know if it's maybe slightly thinner or not. It looks identical, so. Next would be I. So I is simply a vertical row straight in the middle. Next is going to be N. So this is a vertical row on the left and right sides, with a diagonal row, top left corner to bottom right corner. Next is going to be the first letter that I don't enjoy making, which is G. This is a vertical row on the right side, get rid of the black die, throw the white in, make the upper half of the banner entirely white, throw the white die out, throw the black die in, add a horizontal row across the bottom, vertical on the left, horizontal across the top, and there you have G. The next letter would also be G, but I'm going to reuse that because I'm lazy. So we're going to be making Y, which is another annoying letter. So a diagonal row top left corner to bottom right corner, throw the black die out, throw the white die in, make the lower half of the banner white, throw the white die out, put the black die in, and then place a diagonal row, the opposite diagonal row, top left corner, top right corner to bottom left. So, I'm actually going to place... No, I'm not going to place any of these banners yet. So, the last banner would be M, which is also, coincidentally, another annoying letter to make. So, this is a... Where is it? A triangle at the top of the banner using black die. Grab that, throw the black die out, white die in. We then do the little triangles at the top of the banner, throw the white die out, put the black die in, vertical row of black on the right, vertical row of black on the left, and then if we just replace, say, the white die there, perfect. So, what that will allow us to do is, in these blank spaces at the top front of our gym, B, O, X, I, N, G, space, G, Y, M. Perfect. That's the outside, pretty much entirely complete. Now, if this were the old version of Minecraft, I don't know why they had to change this, I could have simply hit double X and got rid of all of my stuff. This is no longer possible. But now that we have done the outside, we are going to head inside. So, when it comes to the inside, we don't have loads and loads of materials that we need, but we do have a little foundation of stuff. So we're going to grab the blue concrete, we're also going to grab red concrete, oak stairs, black banners, end rods, polished black stone button, smooth quartz slab, white carpet, and that may be the extent of what we can use. So the entire... Oh, maybe... Oh, there's actually a little bit of... I didn't realise that I did this, but I guess I did. So, I'm going to use a little bit of light grey concrete in the corners of the gym. So, like this corner here to join upwards, this corner here, and I think that we'll actually just leave it at that. That looks pretty good. So... I made it seem as though it was a big deal. It's not a big deal. So, most of the gym is actually blue concrete, okay? So, the floor. However, there is just one part of it that isn't. In the slightly smaller part of the gym, if we place a double row of blue concrete on the left and right sides looking towards those outward windows. And by the way, underneath the windows, it's up to you what you want to place. I'm going to be going with the blue concrete, so underneath any of the exposed windows, wherever possible. Look, maybe I'll leave those white, why not? Variation. So everywhere, inside of the gym, except for this particular patch of grass, which I have just kept, just as a bit of representation, because we could actually use grass for this purpose, although I'm not going to, I'm going to make it look nicer than that. It's basically, that is the only part that does not want to be blue concrete. So, basically, that is, I think that I said earlier, it's a conditioning part of the gym. And all conditioning means is basically just so, you know, like, so you don't get winded, basically. You want to be in a good enough condition that after one round of boxing or whatever it might be, that you're not on the ground, panting for breath, wondering why you decided to step into the ring or leave your cozy office playing Minecraft, why you would suddenly want your lungs to burn as you tried some sort of physical activity. So the reason for the conditioning part is to avoid everything that I just said. So it's just so that you don't get winded. So it has things like, I've got some like, and you got to use imagination for these things. So like in that part of the gym, there's some like skipping ropes, there's some kettlebells, which is basically just big weights with handles. There's also like these things that you push. I think they're called sleds. And there's some like fake grass, which is like what you push and pull these sleds on. So it's just kind of like a cool looking, like I was trying to think of like cool things to do inside here. That's not just like boring old sort of regular things. So I've tried to make it a little bit more interesting. So now that we have destroyed all of the floor, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to set up the ring. So this we can actually do it in its entirety. The ring is not the movie. Where we have this entrance here, we want to leave a gap or find the sixth block. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth block in. So let's place I do believe it's a blue concrete that we use for the ring. Yeah, it is. So we want to place a blue concrete and extend it back by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then inwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there we go. We've essentially just created a square, which is what we want. Perfect. And then we're going to fill the middle of this in. And then the area that we fill in, we want to place white carpet on top of. So on top of the area that we fill in, we want to place white carpet on top of it. Like this. And then we are going to... So this would be the mat or canvas? I don't know what you call it, to be honest. I don't think I've ever been in a boxing ring, but the white stuff. And then we want to place oakwood stairs. This is placed here. So like on this side where the entrance is, leave a gap of 1 oak stair, and then the same thing on the opposite side. So kind of like, you know, opposite corners. And then we want to place 2 red concrete on top of each one of the 4 corners of the build. And then stick a smooth quartz slab on top of each one of the red concrete. And then the objective is to then place end rods, joining each of these sides together. So the end rods will look best if they are placed evenly. So it would be possible, I think. I'm not sure if it's even possible to place them incorrectly, but you guys know what end rods are like. They're a bit funny sometimes, so I think that you can. But the idea is to basically place back to back to back end rods, like in rows of like 3, so that you kind of get like the I guess buckle, so that you kind of get the buckles in between, so like this. I think it just looks pretty good this way. So here, and then over here as well. And then there's just a little finishing touch which we can add after this. So just a little tiny finishing touch, but it does look really good, I think. So number 1, now that we've done that, that seems nice and simple. We're going to place some black stone buttons on the corners here, just to make it look a little bit more official. And then around the bottom, this you can usually get under these things, so I'm going to place some black banners as a bit of color variation, just going around the entire bottom, and it just makes it look a little bit more interesting. Like you could even use, say, black concrete along the bottom and forego the blue concrete, but that's kind of up to you if you want to do that. But I think it just makes it look a little bit more visually appealing. And we do have more materials that we could probably make use of, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to grab all of the remaining materials that we need, hopefully, and then we'll be back once that has been done. Back in a moment. Okay, I think I have figured out what we need to finish off the build. So, We're going to start off by grabbing smooth quartz slabs, chains, red shulker box, tripwire hook, polished blackstone wall, red carpet, oak trapdoor, birch fence gate, and birch fence. So first of all, we want to have some punching bags. These are going to be at the front of the build, and we are going to leave a gap of 2 from the entrance here, and then away from the wall, probably just 1 row away from the wall, we want to have a red shulker box. Leave a gap of 2, and then another red shulker box, kind of just leaving a gap from the wall. And I think that these will line up quite nicely. Like, we're trying to line it up with the boxing ring. And then on top of the red shulker boxes, we want to stack another, and then a chain pointing upwards, and then some smooth quartz slabs extending from the wall to kind of just join it like this. Perfect, easy as that. So the next thing is towards the back of the build, and we are going to make a little weight bench. So 1 row of the ground here in this corner, we're going to leave a gap of 1, place a tripwire hook, and then 3 chains. So horizontally 1, did that place? Yeah, 1. I literally couldn't see it. 2, 3, like if you look at it from the... Oh, they're literally invisible. So 3 of them. And then a tripwire hook. And then leaving a gap of 1 from the middle chain on the wall. A couple of polished blackstone walls. Red carpet on top. And then left and right of the bench that we've created, we want to place flipped up oak trapdoors. They want to stack 3 rows high in total, so it's easier, or at least for me it's easier, to literally just crouch and place just an additional 2 rows. And then if we flip those up, those will be in the correct position to make like a cage. And then we should be able to just slip some... Oh, I guess it got to go on top. So there we go. So you place them on top like this, and then... There we go. So you can make a nice, easy cage, or power cage, or weightlifting cage, a rack, whatever you want to call it, with a weight bench and a little barbell behind. So then, to the right here, we want to make a little exercise bike. This is relatively simple, so we'll leave a gap of 1 between the tripwire hook here, and then on the ground, we're going to place a birch fence, extend it back, and then on top of the first birch fence, we want to place a birch fence gate that is above and open, like this, pointing this way to look like handlebars. And then we want to simply grab a black carpet, polished blackstone stairs. A black carpet goes on top of the second fence with a stair behind. And then oak trapdoors left and right of the first fence. Looks like an exercise bike. Then... by the way, that's this area pretty much done. I mean, I think we can all agree you couldn't fit too much more stuff. But I do think that we're going to slip a window on the side here, maybe. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I want that, but we could line it up with the ring to kind of like go here. So perhaps we could have a window that is kind of like equal to the... Or maybe just 1 row inwards from the side of the ring. And that might just be nice. So we'll add some glass to that later. Okay, so this area here, first of all, I want to have a little punching bag that is kind of just attached to this wall here. It's basically a polished blackstone wall with a couple of red shulkers on top, and that's kind of like a stationary, like heavy bag that's like on the floor. I'm sure that you guys might have seen them in movies or in real life or wherever. Along this back wall here, I want to have a couple of racks, so this is going to be tripwire hooks, 1 row off the ground, stacked on top of each other in between these windows. And then I'm going to have just end rods in between. And there's a lot of, basically, so the end rods are going to just, like I said, go in between the tripwire hooks. So they could be barbells or something, you know, it's all suggestive, so it's going to be whatever you would like. And then on this wall here, maybe even... So, this looks to me... This particular decoration looks like a skipping rope. But again, imagination. So, 2 face-down end rods with chains underneath. And then nothing underneath that, because again, it's a bit suggestive. Unless you wanted to place like 1 to the side like this, but it looks a little bit weird. This looks like either nunchucks or it looks like a skipping rope. Those are the handles, that is the rope. You could extend it down to the ground, but then it looks a little bit weird. So it's, again, a bit suggestive, but hanging off of the wall for conditioning. You can have the same thing here on the side as well. So just do the side here. Maybe we can even drop it an additional row in here. With the chains underneath, again, it's a bit suggestive, but it kind of looks like a skipping rope of sorts. The next thing that I want to do is I want to rip up the grass area. So you could leave the grass if you were feeling a little bit lazy, and I wouldn't blame you, but we're going to grab birch fence gate, blackstone stairs, and end rods, and then we're going to grab all of the remaining concrete, cyan, red, orange, and yellow concrete. So, let's rip up the grass, and of course I destroyed that. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I have destroyed the blue concrete? I'm so clumsy, it's unbelievable. The only reason that that's annoyed me is because, like, we've got a full inventory, so I can't quite just grab it yet, but anyway, from the end here, a couple of rows of lime terracotta to every single row of green terracotta, extending from the end forwards just like this. So 2 rows of lime, 1 row of green, so on and so forth until you eventually hit this point here. Then we're going to stick a blue concrete here in the corner. Perfect. Then on this area, we're going to place a couple of polished blackstone stairs like this. So on this green line with open birch fence gates extending out. And then in the ground in front of this, a polished blackstone with end rods pointed upwards. Now, this is going to look a little bit weird, but if you literally Googled, like, I don't know, weightlifting sled or prowler, not just prowler, like gym prowler, that still sounds bad, but you guys get the idea. Like, the idea is that you, like, would put weights on this, and then you would push it. Or alternatively, you can, like, attach stuff to you and you can pull it. It's basically just like a common conditioning thing, like if you've never seen it. And it just looks kind of cool here. So hopefully if you realize what that was, you'd be like, huh, that's pretty cool. Anyway, against this wall, a few different colored concretes, but strategically colored concretes, because if we have a cyan concrete with an open warped fence gate on top of it, looks like a kettlebell, sort of. Again, suggestion. It looks a little bit more like one with it closed, but I like it better open. It looks a bit better open in my opinion. And if you just match up some fence gates with some colourful concretes below, you can do this with terracotta and all sorts, then they look like kettlebells. If you don't know what kettlebell is, Google it. It's not too far off. You could complete this by... do we have any red carpet? Okay, so I'll give you an example. So this might look better, or it might make it look worse. Oftentimes, like, when you try to overcomplicate things, it looks a little bit worse. So if you... I mean, it doesn't look too bad, actually. But it's like an open handle that's closed. So, like, it's a handle. It almost looks like a U or an N, like, you know, both lowercase, one upside down, one not. And it sort of looks like this. It's a big giant weight that you swing around and do all sorts of fun stuff with. And does it look better like this, or does it look worse? I tend to think that it looks worse, but it's... Yeah, I don't like that as much, but it would technically be a little bit more realistic. But anyway, I like how they look. I like how this part of the gym looks. The only thing that I want to do, and I do actually have another idea as well, but it's such a minor thing. Like, I'm going to just fill this window in with glass like this. That's perfect. And I was going to add some posters here, but I don't actually think it needs it. I think that we've kind of reached that point where it's, like, quite nice and simple, and yet it feels kind of like complete in here. So I guess that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the gym complete. So this is what your boxing gym will look like once it has been 100% fully completed. Hopefully you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to hit that like button, as it helps me and the channel out very, very much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Click that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you want to make anything else by me, check out the card system, the description below, and the top of the comment section for more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!